Hi everybody, so in this video we are going to cover three important national commission, that is National Commission on Scheduled Caste, National Commission on Scheduled Tribe and National Commission on Backward Classes. The reason why I have put up all these three bodies collectively in one video, because when you will read the concerned article, that is Article 338, Article 338A, Article 338B, that is dealing with all these three bodies. 338 deals with NCSC, National Commission on Scheduled Caste, 338 deals with NCST, and 338B that was added recently in 2018 by 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act, that is dealing with NCBC, that is National Commission on Backward Classes. So when you will read these three articles and sub-articles, you will notice that the composition of all these three bodies that you can see on the screen, or the appointing authority, or the structure, or the function of all these three bodies are going to be same, ditto same. The wording that has been used while explaining the functions of NCSC, the functions of NCST, when you will read the original article, that is Article 338A, 338B and 338. So while explaining the functions of these three commissions, ditto same word has been used, except that National Commission on Scheduled Caste will work for the advancement of interest of SC. So that is the only difference, that this institution, that is National Commission on Scheduled Caste, is work to advance the interest of SCs. National Commission on Scheduled Tribe is going to further the interest of STs, and similarly National Commission on Backward Classes is going to work for the advancement of interest of backward classes. So that is the only difference, except that there is no difference between the organizational structure. So same organizational structure, that is chairperson, vice chairperson and 3-member body. This NCSC is also going to be a similar structure you will notice for NCST and National Commission on Backward Classes. The appointing authority for all these three bodies is going to be president only. So if there is so much of commonalities, if there is so much similarities, what is the point of reading these things separately? And that's why I thought of putting this NCSC, NCST and NCBC in a same video. As far as NCBC is concerned, there are certain new provisions that are not available into the public domain, because this is a recent addition in our Indian Constitution. So we can have a separate chapter or separate video that will hardly entail around 20 minutes. So in that 20 minutes, in that separate video, the separate functions or the separate jurisdiction of this NCBC we can study, because this is, as I told, a recent addition. So there is a possibility that the question can be asked. If examiner has to ask question from NCSC, NCST, NCBC, right, there is high probability that he or she will be asking or framing this question from NCBC, unless of course there is no current event from NCSC and NCST. If there is some current phenomena, if there has been some atrocities committed against any of the communities, be it SC and ST, and that has generated enough outrage, then of course there may be question for NCSC as well or NCST as well. But if there is no such phenomena, and if I as an examiner is asked to design question from these three chapters, any of these three chapters, then I'll be picking this body, that is NCBC, because most of the information that is for NCBC is not available today in the public domain. That's why I asked that as far as NCBC is concerned, the separate function or the new functions or the jurisdiction will have a separate video. But as far as common structure, common appointing authority, common functions are concerned, that we'll discuss in this body. So without wasting time, let us move to the next slide and let us first discuss the scope of this video, and thereafter we'll start discussing the common aspect of these three bodies. So why these commissions has been established, why the commission for SCs, why the commission for STs, and why commission for backward classes. So that we'll discuss in the first leg of this video. We'll cite out the historical reason, that how the historical injustices has been meted out to these weaker communities, and that's why for the protection, although in Constitution there are provisions protecting their interest, but there needs to be some agency that takes care of this point, that whether these constitutional protection that is in Constitution is actually safeguarding their interest or not. So that we'll discuss into the first leg of this video. Then we'll see evolution of these commissions, as here should have been. So evolution of the commission, that how after operationalization of Indian Constitution you have evolution of various commissions. So National Commission on this backward classes was not present into the original Constitution. You had this in 1993 when to the National Commission on Backward Classes, the statutory backing was given, and thereafter in 2018 the constitutional protection was given to this body as well. What has been the position, whether NCSC, that is National Commission on Scheduled Caste and National Commission on Scheduled Tribe, does it has a constitutional origin, or it was also given the constitutional status on a later stage? So that we will discuss into the second leg of this video. Then the constitutional provision dealing with various commissions. So we'll study this article 338, 338A, 338B, which article is dealing with NCSC, which article is dealing with NCST, and which article is dealing with NCBC. Then we will discuss structure and functions of this commission, that how many member body, whether these commissions are going to be single member body or multi-member. If multi-member body, then how many members this commission will have, then what are the positions present in this commission, whether it will have chairperson, vice chairperson, or president, vice president, how many members it will have, what will be the job, what will be the role of the members. Then we will discuss the functions of this commission, that what is their role, what is their job, right? So that we will discuss into the fourth leg of this video. And then we have put up 2 MCQ for you to attempt. So that is going to be the layout, or that is going to be the contours of this video. So without wasting time, let us move to the next slide and let us start discussing why these commissions. See, in our society, few communities like SC community and ST community have been considered a weaker section of society. They have been subjected to the historical injustices, and that's why you will notice that because they have been subjected to the historical injustices, there are certain safeguards in form of reservation, in form of 5th schedule and 6th schedule, in form of article 371, whatever protection that has been given to certain state. In article 371 there are certain state, because they are tribal dominated. I hope you would have already studied that chapter as well, and that's why I keep talking about the linkages. So why certain state in northeastern state were granted special provisions? So there was security reason, there were that indigenous factor, but there were another reason as well that I had cited, that the tribal community there is still not mainstream with the society. They are still living with their own system. They do have their own customary laws. So why they have not been able to what you call assimilate with the society, right? Because they do have their own sensitivities. So these people have been considered somewhere weaker, be it SC community. I was right now talking about the ST community. If I talk about the SC community, so we had this caste, presence of caste structure in our society. Certain caste belonging to these communities has often been subjected to that historical injustices, and it is because of this peculiar situation that we do have in our society for around 1000 or 2000 years, that you will notice that in constitution certain amount of protection in form of article 46. Do you know what this article 46 deals with? So article 46 again deals with furtherance of interest or advancement of interest of people belonging to weaker communities, and these two communities, that is SC community and ST community, has been specifically mentioned in this article 46, that their educational, their economic, their social interests should be further, and that will be responsibility of the state. So certain protection because of the historical injustices that these communities, SC community, ST community, and these other backward caste has been subjected to by our upper caste brothers and sisters. And let me tell you, even I belong to that caste which should be blamed for this historical injustices, right? So you should not, means when I am appealing and when I am giving a strong case or making strong case for meting out this historical injustices, you should not think that I am prejudiced. No, I am not prejudiced. So having clarified my own stand, right? So as I was telling, that because of these historical injustices, these protection in form of 5th schedule, in form of 6th schedule, in form of PESA, right? What is this PESA, Panchayat extension? So that is again recognition of their special needs, right? So that is the constitutional protection, article 46 I talked about. Then you have this Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, right? That is alternatively also called Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Act 1989. So that also does protect their rights, considering that often they do go, why this provisions of Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989 is so stringent, because as a society, as a country, we have recognized that these community have remained weaker, right? When they do go to these police stations to file the cases, their cases are not filed because of the socially lower strata that they have often belonged to. And that's why you will notice that the provisions of POA has been made so stringent, and rightly so. So there has been given constitutional protection, but despite, now notice this point, when we are saying that why these commissions has been established, so here is the point. So yes, the constitutional protection has been given in form of Article 46, in form of this prevention acts like Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, in form of protection or special provision in 5th and 6th schedule, but whether those constitutional protection are actually safeguarding their interest, are actually furthering their interest or not. So there should be some special agency to monitor that because see, despite you cannot, many of people who does have village background, they can argue on this fact that despite these constitutional protection that has been given in our constitution, despite that, caste discrimination is still prevalent in rural hinterland. It would have been eliminated, or if not eliminated, to have been reduced into the urban center, but it is still being practiced with lesser degree, with lesser quantum, but it is still prevalent in the rural India. So there should be, means despite these constitutional protection, if these things have not been eliminated in last 70 years, so there needs to be some agency dedicated to look into whether these constitutional safeguards are actually working or not, whether these police or the district administration are actively implementing those constitutional protection or constitutional safeguards that these people has been given in these through various acts or through various constitutional mechanisms. So that is the job of these agency, these commissions like NCSC. When you will see the composition of these commission, that is National Commission on Scheduled Caste, when you will see the composition of it, is dominated by the people belonging to their community, and this provision has been mentioned into the constitutional rules of procedures itself, that the chairperson and vice chairperson should be people belonging to that particular community itself, and their profile should be, while appointing the chairman of these commissions, right, presidents should ensure that they do have that kind of profile which inspires confidence among that particular community. You can't pick a Brahmin, or you can't pick a person belonging to other caste or community who does not inspire the confidence, who does not instill the confidence among them, right? Because if a commission is being appointed or commission is being selected, right, that person, the chairperson, the vice chairperson of that commission should belong to that. So that kind of constitutional protection has been given by ensuring that these members of these commission, chairperson of these commission, belong to that particular community itself, right? And it is because of, see, the commission's existence even today is also necessary because of these kind of incidents that keep happening. Even today you would be reading in the Hindu, the Express, right? Although the Hindu or the Express cover only those news which generate enough outrage, but if you go to the rural hinterlands, again, if you read the local newspaper, you will find these kind of news in local dailies every day, right? Because of we do not be sitting here reading the Hindu belonging to the elite class, right, who does have access to internet. Perhaps we may not get to these news may not boggle our mind, although being a UPSC aspirant, these kind of news, if these kind of incidents are happening in our society, these things should boggle our mind, right? As an administrator, you have to go into the administration, you have to administer the law and order as a SP, you have to administer whole of the city administration as a DM, as a DC, right? So these kind of things, you need to be sensitive to these kind of news. Whenever such cases comes to your cognizance, right, you need to take stringent action. So that kind of mentality you will have to prepare, that why these kind of things even happening after 70 years of post independence, right? So these kind of things, if this is a scene actually from Article 15, the guys who actually deny, the people who deny that the caste discrimination has completely ended, right? So those people, for those people, you need to watch these kind of movies, Article 15. And Article 15, you can't argue that that is just a reflection, or that is just an exaggeration of the producer's mind or the director's mind. No, these guys, I can vouch for that fact that in villages these kind of discriminations are still what you call prevalent, right? So these if you guys do have time, if you are not preparing for 2020, if you are preparing for 2021, I'll highly recommend you to watch that movie. Here this person belonging to the upper class, right, he had raped 2 girls just to show them their aukat. The people belonging to the North India can understand the actual meaning of aukat, right? The English conversion of that word aukat would be status. So just to know, let them know, let not 2 girls but to particular community, to show them their limits, to show them their status. This person, and he is committing, actually he is committing in the interrogation room. Here you do have this SP, Superintendent of Police Ayushman Khurana, who is interrogating him, and he is openly saying, yes, I did that. After that, the 2 minor girls were hanged on the tree just to deliver a message that if you ask for anything that is beyond your aukat, that is beyond your limits, that is beyond your status, this is the what you call, this is the thing that you are going to be subjected to. So here the SP asks in this movie that who is going to decide this aukat, who is going to decide the status. So here he again openly says that it is we who is, means when he was saying we, he was referring to his own caste, that we belonging to the upper caste is actually going to decide that what will be the status of that particular community. And if they do not live up to their status, within the status that we have created, within the boundary that we have created, then this is something that they are going to meet. Means we will do the justice, and the justice will be in form of that rape, justice will be in form of that hanging. So that is the thing, and those kind of things keep happening every now and then in our villages. It's just that we living in the urban center do not get these kind of news in our the kind of newspaper that we read. Those kind of newspaper does not cover those kind of news just because that is not important to them. So these are the thing, and that is the reason why these commissions has been established, to ensure that the constitutional safeguard, if these people are going to the police station, their cases are registered, if they do not have access to these public prosecutor, then these agency will ensure that they do get legal help, they do get that legal timely help, they do get the medical intervention if needed. So those kind of things are ensured by this commission. When we'll see the functions of these commission, when we'll see in this video itself working of this commission, you will notice that they do ensure, these commissions do ensure the legal help, they do ensure the medical help or the other kind of help. These kind of, they do ensure that these kind of people, if are being favored by the administration, district administration or the police administration, then they are brought to the book, the culprits are brought to the book, the witness is given protection, right? So those kind of legal help is the job of these commissions. So I hope why these commissions you will have clarity on. Now we are moving to the next slide to discuss. So you do have various kind of safeguard that has been mentioned into the constitution, or various kind of act that parliament has enacted. So you do have this article 46. You can, although I already have communicated what this article 46 is, right? So you can read this article, then provisions of 5th and 6th schedule, other constitutional safeguard to these communities. Then you have acts like SC and ST Act 1989 or Prevention of Atrocities Act, or these act is also called alternatively SC and ST Act. So these kind of constitutional safeguard has already been mentioned either directly into the constitution or law has been enacted by the parliament. Now it is the job of these commission to ensure that these safeguards are actually available to these communities. So I hope you will have clarity on the why aspect of these commission, that why NCSC, why NCST and why NCBC. Now let us see the evolution of these commissions. So at the time of operationalization of constitution, we did not have anything called NCSC, that is National Commission on Scheduled Caste. We did not have NCST or NCBC. These are post constitutional origins. So you will notice that in 1950, as far as for SC, for advancement of interest of SC and ST is concerned, right, you just had a special officer, right? You had the provision of special officer who will take care for the requirements, or who will safeguard the interests of these SC and ST communities. So that special officer was called commissioner in 1950. Now come to the 1975. This special commissioner, or this was a single member body until 1978. This was converted into multi-member body, and that was called commission, National Commission for SC and ST, and that was granted a executive body status. I hope you do know the difference between executive body, statutory body, and this constitutional body. So in 1978, this body, which was until 1978, was a single member body, and the person or the designation of that special officer was commissioner. So that body will still be headed by a commissioner, and that body will just be made in 1978 by executive resolution, right? That body will be made a multi-member body. So that was something that happened in 1978. Then come 1987, and in 1987 few functional changes are made to this executive body, and with that functional changes, the name of that body is also changed, and the name now onwards will be National Commission on Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe. This body is going to take care the interest of SC and ST. Until now, there is nothing called National Commission on Backward Classes. National Commission on Backward Classes, you will notice that that will come into the picture in 1993. So until whatever talk that we are doing, that we are doing for the community, that is SC, ST. So in 1987, this body, this executive body, some functional changes are done, and with that functional changes, the naming of that body is also, that multi-member body naming is also changed, and the name will be now National Commission on SC, ST. However, when you hear this word National Commission on SC and ST, you need not to be mistaken that they were granted this constitutional status. No, until 1987, there is no talk of this constitutional status. It is still the executive body, just few functional changes has been made. Now in 1990, means 3 years later, you will notice that this body through 65th constitutional amendment will be granted the constitutional status. So 65th Constitutional Amendment Act, and through that this National Commission on SC and ST will be granted constitutional status. Now this body will take care the interest, and this is a common body which will take care of the interests or the welfare of SC and ST community. In 1993, on the backdrop of this Mandal Commission and on the backdrop of Indira Sahni, the famous Indira Sahni case that you would have read, into this Article 16 when we were discussing this reservation, concept of reservation. So in that backdrop of Mandal Commission, in the backdrop of that Indira Sahni case, right, you will see that because in that case, Indira Sahni case, the Supreme Court has observed that for the inclusion and for the exclusion of various castes into that backward classes, there should be a body which would again take care of that which class should be included, which class should be excluded. So for that purpose, this body will be created, that will be called National Commission on Backward Classes, and that body will be, because that body will be created by a parliamentary act in 1993, so that body will be given statutory status. So until now we were talking about agency or a commission that is taking care of SC and ST. In 1993, for taking care of interest of backward classes will also be created, and that body will be granted constitutional status. In 1990 itself, the body, the National Commission on SC and ST, has been granted this constitutional status, but this body does not have, this National Commission on Backward Classes does not have yet this constitutional status. This body will be granted constitutional status only in 2018, when you will have 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act or 123 Constitutional Amendment Bill, 123 Constitutional Amendment Bill or 10. I hope you do know the difference between Constitutional Amendment Bill and Constitutional Amendment Act, right? Then if I talk about amendment to this body, then you will notice that in 2003, I am talking now, until now I was talking about this NCBC, National Commission on Backward Classes, that was in 1993 granted this statutory status, and then in 2018 through 102nd constitutional amendment, that was granted this constitutional status, right? So that was about NCBC. Now we are, let us move back to this National Commission on SC and ST. So until this 2003 or until 2002, this body, National Commission on SC and ST, was commonly, this was a single body, right, multi-member body, but this was a single agency which was working for the interest of these three communities, that is SC, ST and Anglo-Indians. Now you will notice that in 2003 this body will be separated, this will be converted, because considering that the sensitivities, the demand, the requirement of SCs is totally different from ST. SC has remained integrated part of the mainstream, but as far as STs are concerned, right, STs does have different sensitivities. They are not connected to the mainstream society. So that's why in recognition of their special requirement, this separate body, this NCSC and NCST, which was a multi-member body but single-handedly taking interest of these three community, considering the special requirement of ST community, you will notice that NCSC and NCST, two bodies will be created by bifurcating this agency. So you will see that National Commission on SC and National Commission on ST, these two body will be created in 2003, and both these body will be granted constitutional status. Although this body did have constitutional status, but even after bifurcation in 2003, you will notice that these two bodies, that is NCSC, that will now onward, this NCSC was given responsibility to take care the interest of SCs as well and Anglo-Indians as well. Anglo-Indians as well. As far as NCST was concerned, this was given dedicated responsibility to take care the interest of ST only, right? Thereafter the ministry was dedicated ministry was also created, that is MOTA, Ministry of Tribal Affairs, and this Ministry of Tribal, under the administrative control, overall supervision of Ministry of Tribal Affairs, this agency was supposed to work. So this was about 2003 when this body, this combined body of National Commission on Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe was bifurcated into these two agencies, these two commission, that is NCSC and NCST. So I hope that you will have clarity on another development that happened in 2018, but this development is not related to this NCSC or NCST, but this is with NCBC, which was hitherto until 2008 a statutory body was granted this constitutional status, right? So this point we already have covered. So this was all about this evolution of various commission, three commission, that is NCSC, NCST and NCBC. How this we started from 1950, that was the time when the constitution was operationalized, and then we saw the evolution of NCSC, NCST, and then this NCBC, which gained prominence in 1993 after this Mandal Commission and Indira Sahni case, and thereafter in 2018, that is 2 years ago, it was granted this constitutional status. So I hope you do have clarity on this timeline. You can just go through once on this timeline, and I hope that you will have an idea on this timeline as well. So these landmark years you can remember, right? Although I do advise the dates and all these things you can take leeway to forget, but as far as this thing is concerned, here these chronology you need to remember, right? So I hope you have clarity on this evolution of commission for SCs and ST. Now we are moving to the next slide to discuss the constitutional provisions that is dealing with these three commission, that is NCSC, NCST and NCBC. So you have this article called Article 338. So initially you had this Article 338, and in 338 you had this provision of commissioners or a special officer for SC and ST. Thereafter you have these means with passage of time, with the evolution process that we just saw on the previous slide, right? You will notice that initially 338 dealt with these interest of SC and ST. In 2003, when the bifurcation will happen, this 338, Article 338 is going to deal with NC-SC. 338A will deal with NC-ST, and this happened in 2003. Although as a body, these two bodies came into existence in 2004, but this amendment, the constitutional amendment that we are talking about, that is 89th constitutional amendment, that bifurcated these two constitutional bodies and made into NC-SC and NC-ST, that constitutional amendment happened in 2003. So to that from this 89th constitutional amendment, you will notice that this NC-SC will come under this Article 338. All the provisions that is dealing with this NC-SC has been mentioned in Article 338 as far as the provisions or the composition or the appointing authority of this NC-ST is concerned, that is mentioned into this 338A, right? Thereafter in 2018, through constitutional amendment, this sub article, that is 338B, right, that will be added into the constitution in 2018, right, and this body, which was hitherto a statutory body, right, will be granted constitutional status, that is NCBC, National Commission on Backward Classes. So these sub articles that is dealing with, so easy, right, you can remember this is in continuation. 338 dealing with NC-SC, 338 dealing with NC-ST, and 338B, that is a recent addition. Just 2 years ago this sub article was added into the Indian Constitution, and that is dealing with NCBC, that is National Commission on Backward Classes, not National Commission on Backward Caste, but backward class, right? So I hope the constitutional provision or the articles you will have an idea on. Now we are moving to the next slide to discuss the structure of, so this is the common structure that you will find for all these three bodies, be it NC-SC, be it NC-ST, and be it NC-BC, right? So this is going to be a 5-member body where you will have this chairperson at the top, then vice chairperson, and 3-member body, right? Now let us repeat it. So this structure is common for all these three commissions, that is NCBC, NC-SC, and NC-ST. So 5-member body, chairman, vice chairman, and 3 members. As far as status of this chairperson is concerned, the status of this chairperson will be of equivalent to the cabinet minister rank. So he will belong, or he will be put up on the par with whatever facilities, whatever perks that is available to a cabinet minister. You will find that the same perks will be available to the chairperson of NC-SC, NC-ST, and NC-BC as well. The position of the vice chairperson is equivalent to the Minister of State, right? So whatever perks the Minister of State will enjoy, same perks will be extended to this vice chairperson as well. As far as these 3 members are concerned, these 3 members will enjoy the status of secretary to the Government of India. Secretary to the Government of India. So this was about the status of this chairperson, vice chairperson, and 3 members. Let me again repeat it, that this structure is going to be common for all 3 commissions, that is NCBC, NC-SC, and NC-ST. And all these people, all these 5 people in every commission, whenever this will be instituted, you will notice the appointing authority for these 5 people will be the president, and president, this is a special kind of recruitment, right? So you will notice that the president will be appointing these people by warrant signed under his hand and seal. What is the meaning of this signing this warrant under his hand and seal, right? The meaning has already been explained multiple times, so I am not going to explain this. So this was all about this common structure of all 3 commissions. Let us move to the next slide and discuss the service condition and the term. So as far as service condition of these 3 commissions is concerned, or the term is concerned, there is nothing mentioned into the constitution. In constitution, the only thing regarding the term, regarding the tenure, and regarding the service condition that is mentioned is that the president is in power at the time of institution when these commission will be appointed. The members of these commission will be appointed, or whole of the commission. Actually, see, it's not that the member term is expiring at some time, other time, or the chairperson term is expiring. Whole of the commission is appointed in one go, right? So suppose in 2020 September, a commission for SCs or National Commission on ST is being appointed. So at that time only president is going to decide the tenure or the term, that the term of this particular commission is going to be 4 years or 5 years. Although the general practice so far after this 2003, the general practice has been, and that practice or that tradition has not been broken by any of the government. So the practice has been that the term of all these commission, National Commission of SC, National Commission on ST and National Commission on backward classes, is actually a recent addition. So the practice that I am talking about, the practice or the tradition that regarding the term that has remained for NCSC and NCST since 2003, that they are instituted regularly for 3 years. Once instituted, they will remain in operation for next 3 years. So that is something, that is tradition that has been followed by successive government. Although again I am pointing out that in constitution regarding the tenure, this power on deciding the tenure of these commission has been delegated to the president. And when I am saying the president, it is not the president who is going to decide the tenure or the term of these commission, but the council of ministers. But again, all the businesses of the government of India is formally taken in the name of president, and that's why we keep referring as that the president does have this power, or president did have that power, right? So as far as service, so at the same time when this commission will be instituted, at the same time the service conditions of that commission will also, or the members of that commission will also be defined. So at the same time, means when this is being instituted, this commission is being instituted, the time, right, at the same time two things will be defined: what will be the tenure of that particular commission, and what will be the service condition of the members, right? What will be the service condition of the chairperson, what will be the service condition of chairperson, what will be the service condition of vice chairperson, and what will be the service condition of the 3 members. So that part again I am emphasizing, although this is a gray area because this is something subjective and this is subject to change from the president to president, from the council of minister to council of minister, because this is, although again the tradition has not been tradition has been followed, tradition has not been broken, but it is completely on the council of minister of that government of that particular day what term. So this is something that, because this has not been defined into the constitution, that's why possibility of asking question in the UPSC on the term, that what is the term of, because this is not fixed and this is subject to change. So the possibility of question getting asked from the service condition, and at max the question can be asked, that question can be framed in a way that who get to decide this term or who get to decide the service condition, because that is mentioned into this article, that it is the president who will get to decide the service condition of these commission, it is the president who will get to decide the tenure, right? So that question can be asked, but as far as that what is the term, because that is not mentioned into the constitution, that kind of question from my assessment at least will not be asked, right? So that was about the term and the service condition. Just a moment. Now if we move to the next slide and discuss the qualification. So qualification again has not been mentioned into the constitution, that what should be the qualification of the chairperson, what should be the qualification of vice chairperson, or what should be the who should be appointed, right? Whosoever is being appointed as chairperson or vice chairperson to NCSC or NCST or NCBC, what should be their qualification. So that on that front as well constitution has silent, but again the successive government has developed the practice that the members belonging to that particular community. So if chairperson for NCSC, that is scheduled caste, is being decided or appointed, or the members are being appointed, or the vice chairperson is being appointed, so a caution that is ensured by the successive government, a caution that is taken, that the person who do have good resume, when I am saying good resume, what does, so on the person's resume, right, he should have, first of all he should belong, he or she should belong to that particular community. So if the chairperson is being appointed for NCST, scheduled tribal community, then the person, the chairperson or the vice chairperson should belong to the scheduled tribe itself, and he should have a good track record in past 10 or 15 years. He should be a well-known figure. The tribal community should be aware that yes, if that particular person is being appointed in last 10 or 15 years, that person has really indeed worked for our welfare of our community, for the advancement of the interest of our community, so that that person actually inspires the confidence of that particular community, right? So that caution or that care is being taken by successive government, that only those people who do belong to that particular community and who do have strong resume. So by resume I was meaning that their track record of selfless services that they have extended in the past 10 or 15 years, right? So that is the only qualification, and again that is this qualification as well is not mentioned into the constitution. It is just by common logic that yes, the person who is being appointed to, because ultimately what is the job of these commission? The job of these commission is to understand the sensitivity. Now who can understand the sensitivity? The person belonging, because he or she is coming from that community, so the possibility of understanding him or her the sensitivities of that particular community will be higher than the someone person who does not belong to that particular community. So that is the only qualification. Again I am emphasizing, even that qualification has not been mentioned into the constitution. That is something that the successive government or the council of minister has taken due care while appointing, right? So the chairman and vice chairperson or vice chair, so here you can do that correction, right? I am also stereotypical, right? So I should have use this gender neutral word. So here it should have been chairperson, right? And you guys also start using these kind of words rather than this chairman, because this is something that is gender sensitive, right? So chairperson and vice chairperson should be person of ability, integrity, one who should inspire confidence among the community by their track record of selfless service for the community in last 10 or 15 years. The chairperson shall have rank of cabinet. So this point we already have discussed, that the chairperson will have rank of cabinet minister and the vice chairperson will have rank of minister of state, and the members will have rank of secretary of state, secretary to the government of India. So that was about qualification. Now if I start working about, or if I start talking about the functions of the commission, so see the language that has been put up here. So this is the same language that is available on the Ministry of Tribal Affairs website, or rather these people does have these NCSC as well, NCSC or NCST, right? They also do have their own dedicated website. So the data that I have picked up, that this language even in Lakshmikant has also picked up the statement about the functions from these website itself, because whenever I try to make notes for you guys, I try to have these things from the original government website. So when I visited, I found the language of Lakshmikant and language of this website almost similar. So I have picked up the functions of this NCSC and NCST. So when I noticed one thing, and that notice was that the functions of NCSC and functions of NCST, those do the language of the function is almost same on their website, on the SC's website and on the NCST's website. The language is same function NCSC also has to perform in relation to the SCs, and same function NCSTs also has to perform in relation to the ST, right? So the only wording that has been changed is in relation to the NCSC it is SC, and in relation to the NCST it is ST, right? Otherwise everything is almost common. Now let us discuss the function. So what will be the function? If you go by the logic, the purpose of when we were discussing the introduction into the why section of the commission, that why commissions are necessary. So there we had discussed that why commissions are necessary. So if you go by the logic and try to understand the functions of these commissions, so whatever we have discussed into that why aspect, same function these people will have. So commission will investigate, monitor matters relating to the safeguard that has been provided to these communities through the constitution. So in constitution you have this article 46, in the constitution you have this 5th schedule, 6th schedule, in the constitution, not in the constitution but in act, you had this Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, right? So the job of this commission is to investigate. They will monitor whether the safeguard that has been mentioned into the constitution or that are available through these acts, whether those safeguards are actually being provided to these communities or not, right? Then it will participate into the socio-economic planning whenever there will be either by state government or either by these union government, whenever socio-economic planning or the development planning is being made and a policy is being designed, right? You will notice that these people, these commission will participate in those meetings. They will participate into that policy making, and they'll put their side that okay, this is the requirement for next 4 or 5 years, this is the vision that you should be taking while designing any policy, either for SCs or either for STs or either for backward classes. So you will see the participation of these commission, NCSC, NCST and NCBC into that socio-economic development or developmental planning. The other job that these or other function that these people will perform or these commission will perform, often in the news you would have been hearing that Dalit youth was beaten to death. A Dalit youth was while that marriage band was ongoing, he was dancing in that particular marriage ceremony, he was beaten. He tried to enter, a Dalit youth tried to enter into the temple, he was beaten to death, mercilessly beaten. So these kind of, or member belonging to the scheduled tribal community, he stole some bread and he was beaten to death. So those kind of news you would be reading into various newspaper more than often, right? So you would have noticed that many a time these commissions take suo motu notice of these kind of cases, and they directly administer, if they notice that district administration is not working or district administration is not concentrating in these kind of cases, if these people or this community went to the police station because the culprits were belonging to the powerful community, a police officer or rather the district administration is colluding with culprit rather than filing the FIR. So you will find that these commission directly intervene. These commission does have power, let me tell you, as a civil court as well. In the next slide we will discuss the powers of these commission as a civil court. So they can take suo motu notice of these kind of cases, or if cases are forwarded by the victim party, then as well they can intervene. They can directly get in touch with the state government, they can directly get into touch with the district administration, and they will ensure that the legal help, all the medical, whatever kind of help that is necessary to these community, that is meted to them. So those kind of job will be done, and this is actually the real role of these commission. Beside these are the vague things, right? You will notice that these kind of roles also they perform, but this is the major role, this is the direct intervention that they do to inquire on the specific complaint pertaining to the deprivation of right, any of the constitutional right, if they have been deprived of, right? So for the deprivation of right and safeguard to the community, to discharge such other function in relation to the welfare and protection of development of that particular community. And whatever work that this commission is doing, you will notice that the annual report, or even before, if the president is seeking biannual report as well, right? Annual report will be presented to the president by this commission, but if president is seeking even before a year, right, then they will provide early or annual or yearly or early report as well. President, and thereafter once president has received this report, right, president will cause that report to be laid on the floors of both the houses, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. In that report, if these commissions has mentioned any kind of action that needs to be taken against any district administration, or if they had sought any policy design for the development of these community, SC community and ST community or backward classes, and if government has not taken action, or if it has taken, so what action they have taken on their recommendation, so that action along with, so president while laying down the reports that has been sent to the president by these three committees, committees, sorry, 3 commissions, right, you will notice that the president will also lay down that action taken report as well as a measure to ensure the accountability of government towards these commissions. So if government has been ignorant to the suggestions of these commission, you will find that the legislatures belonging to the opposition party, they can question the government that why did you not, when there are atrocities across the country against these community, these weaker section, and if the commission representing these community is suggesting some legal changes into the structure, if they were suggesting that law commissions should be instituted to study the prevalent cases, or to study how many cases, what has been the order that in 2020 or 2019 or 2018, how many cases were reported and how many cases actually happened of the crimes, right, related to these SC and ST. So why did you not institute that law commission, or why did you not institute that particular committee which could study these kind of cases? So that kind of question can be raised through this action taken report by these opposition member on the floor of the house when this report will be laid down on the house. So that is the purpose of laying down the report on the floor of the house, to ensure the government's accountability towards these community, right? So that is the purpose of this laying down. Then in any matter, if any particular matter in this report is also critical of the state government, if state, so suppose 2 or 3 cases happened in Bihar and that cases were relating to the tribal community. Now this NCST wrote letters to this Bihar Chief Minister, Bihar Council of Minister regarding those 3 cases, but these NCST members found that the appropriate action or appropriate response or appropriate cooperation was not extended by this Bihar government. Then against in that report that they will send to the president, they do have every right, this commission does have every right to be critical on the Bihar government. If there has been any mention of any particular state, critical mention of any particular state, you will find that the president, while receiving the report, he or she will send this report to the governor as well, so that governor will also cause that report to be laid down on the state legislature in their assembly. And when this report will be laid down again on to the state legislature as well in their assembly as well, same treatment the state government is also going to get. So if Nitish Kumar government has not acted on the recommendation, or they did not cooperate, or if they did not provided the document that these commission were seeking, right, you will notice that people belonging to the Lalu Prasad Yadav party or people belonging to the other party will critique they'll take a political statement that Nitish Kumar government is anti-ST. They'll take the statement that Nitish Kumar government is anti-SC. And these kind of political stand, when taken by the legislature, they'll do that, they as a MLA they'll be critical of they'll attack on the floors of the state legislature, and thereafter outside the state legislature as well, they'll take this political mileage out of the case. And it is because of these cases, it is because of these incidents that the state government do act, because they do know that if opposition party gets to know these kind of cases, they will take political mileage out of it. So rather have our district administration acting on any such kind of recommendation even before, if they apprehend that there may be intervention by these agents, these commission, NCSC and NCST, even if they are apprehending, even before their apprehension they tried, even before their intervention they tried to resolve the cases, right? So it is, these commissions are again nothing, they are ensuring accountability from the district administration, accountability from the police administration, accountability from the government. So this was about the functions of these commission. If you allow me, and let us move to the next slide to discuss the powers. So as I told, these people, these commission, that is NCSC, NCST and NCBC, does have power to act as a civil court. So suppose they feel that a particular district administration has been colluding, or they were not supporting the case of or FIR of a particular FIR, suppose by the method of media pressure, or by method of or by intervention, their intervention, suppose FIR was filed, but if police is still colluding with those culprits, because in the power equation they are at the higher ladder. So what they can do, so they can call the superintendent of police, they can call the district collector, the district magistrate. So that kind of power these commission, while sitting in the Delhi, they can seek all kind of report. If there has been murder, so suppose Sushant murder case is ongoing, right? So suppose, let us take a hypothetical preposition. Suppose this Sushant Singh would have belonged to SC community or ST community, and he would have murdered, and the kind of circumstances that is prevailing right now, you guys would have been knowing, right? So in these cases, if he would have belonged to the ST or SC community, NCSC or NCST did have jurisdiction that they could directly interact without intervention from the Bihar police, right? They could directly, so they could have been the third party, they could have been directly interacting with the state government, Maharashtra state government. They could have called these police officers, they could have sought that questions like that, why did you not record that autopsy report, why the autopsy was conducted after the evening, while the rule suggests that after evening the autopsy cannot be conducted, why we do not have any videography of that autopsy, right? What did you do for last 50 or 60 days, why you are interrupting the actions of Bihar police? So those kind of inquiry they can do, they can summon and enforce the attendance. So they do have power that they can summon the police officials, district administration, people responsible for that any kind of crime, right? They can summon them and they can enforce their attendance. If they do not, means they do not appear, they fail to appear, then order from the High Court can. So from this civil court, the case will directly go to the High Court, and to the High Court they will direct that we had enforced right these people, and these people, because they have not followed, so contempt of court notice. So that is the power that these guys this particular commission does have. Whatever statement, if that police officer or if district magistrate has appeared in their court, right? So in that court, whatever statement that they are delivering, that statement can be taken on oath. On the affidavit, their statement can be recorded for further inquiry. So that is the power. Receiving evidence, so they can ask that give us the MLC report, give us that autopsy report. So they will have to, this district administration can't deny that we are the investigating agency. No. So besides acting as a civil court, they do have this power to act as an investigate. They can have their own investigation as well, requisitioning of any public record or copy thereof from any court of the office, right? They can seek any of the public report, even if it is lying into any of the court, even then they can ask these the copies of in Sushant case, if I talk about hypothetical case. So if he would have belonged to this community, and if the case would have, even if the case would have been gone to the court, Mumbai High Court, even then from the court as well, they could have a requisition. They have power to requisition that public record. Then issuing commission for the examination of witness and the document. So whatever a court, whatever power that a court does have, similar power this commission also does have, right? So I hope you have the idea on power of these commission, power to act as civil court, right? So National Commission for the Scheduled Tribe summon officials on the Rourkela. This is actually a district into the Odisha. So in Rourkela you do have a steel plant. So what was the case? So case was like that this Rourkela steel plants, right, had absorbed or had appropriated certain land in name of public interest, and that land had been given. But later on, 4 years down the line, it was found that all of the land was not used for the public purposes, rather 25 or 20% of the land is still lying idle. So these tribal people belonging to the tribal community, right, they filed a case on this Rourkela steel plant that we should be returned that land if the land which was appropriated from us for the public purposes, if that is not being used. And the law also dictates that if you are if the government is appropriating any land in the public in the name of the public purposes, and for 3 continuous years, if that land has not been used for that public purpose for which it was appropriated, that land needs to be returned. So here NCST took the cognizance, because whatever cases that they were filing on this Rourkela steel plant into the civil court, into the subordinate court, those courts were not paying heed to those cases. So finally NCST took the cognizance, and now NCST has called, along with the district administration, they have called people belonging to administration of Rourkela steel plant. So that kind of power these people do enjoy. So I hope you do have clarity on next time. So now since you have understood, right, the powers of these NCSC and NCST, whenever you see, means as a responsible citizen, what you can do is that whenever you see any people belonging to SC or ST community who are not very literate, who are not aware about their rights, and if you notice that they are in this victim position and the cases in the police administration is not being filed, you can, as a again awakened citizen, as a well-read citizen, you can approach police station along with them. At least you can educate them about their rights, right, what rights they do have. In case if police administration is also not listening, is not paying to the paying heed to your instruction as well, so what you can do is, you know where to write later on, right? You can write this letter to NCSC on their behalf, you can write letter to NCST on their behalf, and thereafter this commission is going to ensure that all the legal assistance, all the medical intervention, it is ultimately their job to ensure thereafter, means after receipt of that letter, they will ensure that the district administration, and they do not talk to the sub inspector or inspector, they directly talk to the district administration, they directly talk to the state government, and the kind of impact that you will notice when they are intervening, the kind of impact that you will notice, perhaps it will lead to 2-3 officials suspension, at least that is the kind of impact that their intervention does have. So they do ensure that the culprits, police does a fair investigation, they do ensure that the culprit is brought to book, they do ensure that witnesses whosoever, so if you wanted to be a witness in that particular case, as an educated, as a awakened citizen, if you felt that yes, their case was genuine, people belonging to that community was actually victimized, and if you want to be witness, that protection, they will ensure that you are given appropriate protection by the police. So whether witness has been provided security, whether public prosecutor was provided, so all these factors they will look into. So I hope you do have clarity on all the common aspects of these composition, structure, the appointing authority, their functions, right? So all the things about this NCSC, NCST and NCBC you will have clarity on. Now we are moving to the last leg of this video, that is MCQ. Okay, few things are pending, that is miscellaneous. So these bodies, again I am pointing out that the recommendation of these bodies still are advisory, although they do carry weight. As I told you about the action taken report, that action taken report is nothing but that is accountability measure. So although constitutionally their recommendation does have advisory value, but in practice you will notice, because ultimately these people belonging to in democracy, it is all about voice of vote, right? So they do constitute they are morally as well, even if you forget this voting concept, even if you forget this political power that these community does possess on the moral grounds as well, right? You cannot ignore a particular community, right? That is not something that is constitutional, or that is moral. So although their recommendation does not have force of binding value, but you will notice that because of the tradition that we have developed, because of the culture that we have developed, you will notice the recommendations, whatever they extend either to the state government or recommendation, they do extend to the central union government for the fear of being questioned by the opposition. Every recommendation, almost I am saying every recommendation, right? So you will notice that almost every recommendation is considered as and given due weightage, right? Central and state government are required to consult the commissions on all major policy, be it NCSC, be it NCST, or be it NCBC, central government and state government, while taking any major policy decision that is going to affect these communities. You will notice that central government and state government will take suggestions from the concerned, right? If it is dealing with the policy matter of SC, then NCSC will be suggestion will be taken care of, or their suggestion will be taken off, right? If it is dealing with, or if the policy has to be decided in relation to NCST, then as a scheduled tribe, then the suggestion of NCST will be sought, and similarly NCBC. So I hope the miscellaneous information as well you will have have clarity on. Now you do have 2 MCQ that I expect you to attempt. So this is the first MCQ and this is the second MCQ. So these are 2 MCQ that I expect you to attempt until we come up with the next lecture. Till then, bye bye.